On Monday, former President Trump released a video declaring he was not going to make abortion a national issue in the run-up to this election. Trump slammed the assault on IVF from Alabama's Supreme Court and thanked the state's Republicans for quickly fixing that glitch. But on abortion, Trump said he was going to leave this up to the states, leave it where it stands after his presidency. Roe is gone, as conservative legal scholars advised was most appropriate.
The law of the state. Many states will be different. Many will have a different number of weeks, or some will have more conservative than others, and that's what they will be. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people.
The will of the people in each state. Trump is trying, of course, to win an election in November. He believes running on abortion nationally and trying to put a whole big thing over the whole country on abortion is a political loser, which does make sense. Because you think about it, Roe versus Wade was barbaric, extreme, and absolutely outrageous. But it was able to fester as the law of the land for 50 years. Roe became normalized. Americans largely desensitized to what we legally allowed in this country for 5 decades. And the left had 50 years to indoctrinate us with their abortion PR. We had the most extreme abortion laws in the world, with the exception of very terrible places. The wool was pulled over our eyes. Most would be shocked to hear just how horrific a mid to late term abortion truly is, as described here on Capitol Hill by a reformed former abortion provider.
If she were 12 weeks pregnant or less, basically the width of your hand or smaller, you could basically do the entire procedure with this. But babies this big don't fit through catheters this size. The business end of this clamp is about 2.5 inches long and a ½ inch wide. There are rows of sharp teeth. This is a grasping instrument. When it gets a hold of something, it does not let go. A D&E procedure is a blind abortion, so picture yourself introducing this and grabbing anything you can blindly and pull, and I do mean hard, and out pops a leg about that big, which you put down on the table next to you. Reach in again, pull out an arm about the same length, which you put down on the table next to you. And use this instrument again and again to tear out the spine, the intestines, the heart and lungs.
Now, if you watch this show with any regularity, you notice that we play that soundbite. We've played it a few times because it's important. This is what they're calling women's health care. It's important to see that. Sadly, most Americans don't watch C-SPAN. The reality of abortion is largely concealed in this country. We have been propagandized. Over time, abortion, even elective late-term abortion, has become women's health care. They do love their euphemisms. And a child in the womb at any time before delivery has become a lump of cells. And in some cases, even after birth, babies are still disposable, as Virginia's former governor said back in 2019.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
As sick as it is to say, our country's present-day mainstream culture finds that kind of language, talking about killing a child after it's born, generally less offensive than anyone talking about a 6-week abortion ban. It is crazy, but it is true. You can thank our radically left media for brainwashing women with this lunacy for the past 5 decades. And as Trump tries to hold the middle as we go to November and let Biden suffocate under the weight of his horrific presidency, Mike Pence and Lindsey Graham decided to scold the former president this week and throw Joe Biden a bit of a lifeline. Pence calling Trump's position that abortion be left up to the states a slap in the face to pro-lifers. Graham saying the pro-life movement has always been about the well-being of the unborn child, not geography. Well, Trump responding, saying Democrats love this issue and they want to keep it going for as long as Republicans will allow them to do so. Terminating Roe versus Wade was, according to all legal scholars, a great event. But sometimes with great events come difficulties. Many good Republicans lost elections because of this issue, and people like Lindsey Graham that are unrelenting are handing Democrats their dream of the House, Senate, and perhaps even the presidency. And that's exactly what's happening. For all their fear-mongering, they are popping champagne bottles over at the Biden campaign every time this comes up again. Trump's got a point. All that matters, even on the issue of abortion, even on the issue specifically of abortion, all that matters is winning in November. Run on a hyper-conservative abortion message in 2024, and you get to watch as Democrats codify Roe into law on January 21, 2025. Naturally, the media is fear-mongering abortion full throttle. They love this too, because they know it's Joe Biden's only chance.
This is going to criminalize doctors for doing their jobs, and it's going to have a devastating effect on the health and freedom of women in Arizona.
Bad news for women in Florida, bad news for everybody who loves women in Florida, bad news for women's health care in Florida.
So making federal law illegal in some places and then punitive and unsafe for people just isn't practical, and it's not responsible.
Donald Trump is a direct threat to women and a direct threat to reproductive freedom. That's who he is. That's who he continues to be. That's what he said today.
They know how to weaponize this issue just today with the Arizona case. We just saw it today. We're going to talk about it here in just a second. But you had this from the Supreme Court in Arizona come down. They feed off of this. This is the only chance they have in November. And again, they've had 50 years to make a radical Supreme Court decision from 1973 appear to be somehow moderate and normal. They've had a long time to indoctrinate people so that this is a winning issue for them, and trust that it is. Today's Democrat Party is posing as the sensible ones on this issue with their barbarism, when in truth they have moved very, very hard to the left, even in recent years. In fact, let's take a look at Joe Biden 18 years ago.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy, and I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions, and they ought to be able to have a common ground and consensus as to do that. I think the vast majority of the American people think that can be done, but unfortunately, we're put in a position you either eliminate abortions under all circumstances, or it's quote abortion on demand.
Back when Joe Biden was still a Catholic, and back when he was also pragmatic about this issue. And you know why he's pragmatic about the issue? Because he sounds a lot like Trump does on the issue. In fact, he sounds almost exactly like Trump does today. And as Joe Biden has devolved on this issue, Trump has evolved. Trump was once pro-choice. He was. Today, he's still moderate on it. He's made it clear he prefers a ban around 12 to 15 weeks, right where most Americans are, regardless of political party. That's about where they are. But he says it's not up to him. He says it's up to the states. That's his position. Trump voters should know by now he is not the North Star of conservatism and moral clarity. That was Mike Pence, and Mike Pence got smoked in the primaries. Trump represents common sense on most issues. He also represents a viable path to victory and a way out of our current American nightmare, where abortion policy is far from the scariest monster.